Good morning and good afternoon, LinkedIn friends, HubSpot Nation. Welcome to another episode of Let's Build a HubSpot Super Admin with Lucila Abal. How you doing today, Lucy?
Hey Chris, good morning. All good here. How are you?
I'm doing good. Always excited to chat with you, especially when you're in the middle of a super admin bootcamp. What is the word on the super admin street right now?
Oh, a lot of questions. A lot of questions about, of course, most of the new launches after inbound, right? A lot of questions about credits, about agents, about new workspaces, for example, marketing studio, data quality, a lot of things.
That makes sense. Is there hope?
Yeah. I think everything, of course, everyone is facing like this new AI era that is coming, and HubSpot is doing a great effort launching new stuff. Of course, there's still a lot of them are betas or are still a work in progress, and admins are getting excited, but of course, fear at the same time how to take advantage of that and how to make teams adopt all of those tools, right? So something that everyone mentions is resistance to change in companies. And I think is as a super admin, the role first is to understand the tools, understand the potential, not only how it works and how it is set up, but that I think that is the most intuitive part or the easier part. And HubSpot has a lot of documentation and you can find videos about that. But I think the main question always is, should I be using this? Should we migrate from the old model into this new object, into this new workspace? Teams are starting to have those doubts, and super admins are the ones that I think are the ones that if they get informed, if they test, if they work with the platform, they are the ones that should be able to answer those questions internally, right?
Yeah. I do look forward to the day where it's not account by account to understand what the cost is going to be for the thing that we're doing. But it sounds like that's where we're at right now. And I think that's why we always get back to the point of just being aware of what's happening in your portal and what HubSpot is doing to the best of your ability so that you can, develop at least some good decision-making processes when the new thing like shows up, right?
Yes, totally. And I think that's something that we really reinforce in the bootcamp is internal conversations. So admins are not alone. They shouldn't be the ones only touching the CRM by their own criteria. So they should have conversations, the CRM, especially when you have a lot of users and you have a lot of admins also, maybe in a portal. I think conversations are the first step, the first and last step always, right? The first one to gather information, to understand how the teams are needing the CRM to be working. And the last step is always feedback, right? Because it's the only way that I always ask them, how do you know that the implementation was successful? How do you know that whatever that you set up is working? Oh no, I don't know. Or, oh no, I haven't thought about that. Or, oh no, yes, I have this KPI, but that KPI is not aligned. Or what are you're seeing here? So how would you know? And the worst thing that could happen is not getting adoption right. Is spending time, spending money, spending, I don't know, credits in something that then nobody's going to be using. Or that nobody thought that I don't know, thought it in the wrong way or didn't expect the result because they didn't think about the outcome first. So yeah, a lot of things can go wrong. I think it's part of the process. But yeah, first conversations and then implementation.
So how do you help like admins move from like, okay, we've built it, we've implemented it, now let's move on to the next thing and make sure this is like, we're just going to go in our little admin space and watch the data and make sure everything's flowing, like moving from that to actually talking to users more often?
Well, I think whenever you are looking anything in HubSpot, you should first need to understand the context of what you're doing, because if not, it's like looking like a economic balance of a company. How would you know if the numbers that are giving are good, bad, right, wrong, if you don't understand what the company does, how the company works, I don't know, the whole context. So I think that also thinking about everything that you're going to be implementing, how this is connected with other stuff. Stop thinking about reactive implementation of loosen things that are disconnected and that are, okay, yeah, turn this on and that's it. And then I will go with this other team. No, I think because the CRM, everything is connected, because everything that you're doing, every team that is working over the CRM, the database, right? So nothing is disconnected. Even if you think that is disconnected, nothing is disconnected. So stop thinking about working in silos or being completely separate things. I think it's the first thing. And whenever you're using, even if you have a dashboard, or if you're using now data quality or any other new workspace that we have for auditing the portal, I think you need to understand how this impacts different teams, right? And whenever we are going to be planning or doing any pilot test, even if it's implementing a test with an agent, or I don't know, filling a property, anything should have a purpose. I think that we discussed in another session before the thing about piloting and doing this and selling this as an internal project with a test, of course, with the results, with the mediation. So everything should have that idea in mind, right? So whenever we are seeing a dashboard or looking at any type of report or data admin management, whatever, or users management or security management, we need to understand how this is all connected, right? And for example, the other day I had a client that they gave super admin permissions to someone because she needed to create a property. You don't need to be giving super admin permissions to do that. So why are you doing that? Because the risk of doing that is much bigger than going yourself, creating the property, and that's it. It's just 5 seconds to do that. So yeah, we're trying to make everyone conscious about the responsibility that handling a CRM is, right? And of course, each teams are more flexible, more resistant. Each team has their own challenges. So the role of a super admin, I think, is kind of like selling internally the idea, showing. I love the idea of show and tell. So, okay, if you're thinking about something, let's just do a test. Show and tell whatever you're thinking about, how you think this is going to improve their processes, how you think this is going to impact their work positively, ideally, right? Because if not, they're not going to buy the idea. Or even if it has a negative impact, but if it's for a greater good, okay, how would you explain that? And I think most admins are not used to be working like that. They're more used to be reactive. They're more used to be solving smaller things and not thinking about creating value in the CRM.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And for the business.
For the business, yes.
And that's where it can be hard when HubSpot is implemented for just one thing or just two things or just for one department. And I think a good way that I often recommend to start to get alignment of how important HubSpot is for the business, because that's often like when it's so easy to deliver it as, oh, it's going to be quick, it's going to be no problem, it's going to be easy to use. When you like, there's a double-edged sword there, that when you kind of keep it simple in that way and say it's not going to be a lot of effort, then why not have like one person can obviously handle that, but also like it must not be that important for the business if we're only using it for this one thing. And if you can't get over that kind of mental hurdle of, oh, I'm a leader, I can't be worried about this one thing that's just doing lead gen. I've got to think about the whole business all the time. So I never think about HubSpot in those terms. If you can start talking to the teams about like unified customer view as a goal, it's probably not, if it if it was just in HubSpot, if it was just in Marketing Hub, for example, you're probably not there inside of HubSpot. But generally unified customer view as a goal, the business really wants that, right? And if you can get people talking in that language, you will get closer to where you need to be for everybody to appreciate, what is already happening in HubSpot and maybe what HubSpot can do, for the business.
And it's pretty easy to lose sight of that goal. And it's pretty easy to forget, why are we doing this for the business? Because we get distracted, because we get excited with other stuff. And I think our responsibility, at least what I try to do, is always bring clients back to, okay, wait, why are we doing this? And what is the main goal? Because we could get distracted with 1 million things that could take up my time, that I can't be consulting you forever about this. But is that the goal? Is that aligned with the business? Is that what we're working on or building? And if the answer is no, okay, let's just stop focusing on that. Let's just not dedicate more time or more attention to that, because that's not relevant. Not right now, at least. We need first to fix other stuff, right? And I have a client now that is a pretty complex, because it's a SaaS company. We are trying to make HubSpot the core of the business, of course. So importing information from their own app into HubSpot about the accounts, the clients, the partners. But then each team, marketing, sales, partners, they all want to have outside HubSpot apps or platforms to gather other information, right? I don't know, generate other type of reports, or administrate a reward system for partners. So now we have this complexity of first making people understand that the source of truth, the core, is HubSpot. And from HubSpot, we are injecting information to all the other platforms. And it's not the other way, because right now that we're implementing also the integrations with those other platforms, they are super focused in those other apps, but forgetting that HubSpot is the core. You need to first be working in HubSpot so that the information that is in HubSpot is going to flow into that app. It's not going to be the other way. And losing track of that and bringing people back to what is the main goal of HubSpot and how it's going to be working for the business, that is a challenge. But we need to be doing that, because the clients or the other teams, if you are the internal admin of a company, the other teams are always going to be distracted with other stuff. They're going to have ideas. They're going to have other apps that they want to use, other apps that they want to implement, other tools. But we need to understand that the core is HubSpot. Everything in HubSpot, the data should be proper, should be clean, should be as truthful as possible, so that then we can go and send that information in HubSpot to other tools, right? But that is a big challenge for super admins and for everyone, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think the trick that I'm finding is, if you can get people aligned with that unified customer view, which nobody will say no to, not one person in the organization will say that's not a good idea. If you get them there, then it's like, okay, HubSpot's probably the only system we have that can do that, because it usually you're competing with the systems with the revenue in it, or whatever, the real data that leaders are required to have the profit and loss statement, right? All that stuff. So accounting has forced their way into being the most important platform for a lot of businesses. But we know that those systems cannot touch marketing related behavior, right? And now that HubSpot can bring some of that data in, you can truly get a unified view. But starting with what we're about to talk about, which often happens, is oh, there's this new thing and we can see all this stuff, and you just kind of overwhelm. It's very easy for it to come off as we're trying to sell HubSpot internally, instead of trying to sell, the goal of a unified customer view. Yeah.
Yeah, or even if you want to put it in other words, let's just imagine that we're not selling HubSpot internally, but let's just say that we need to align as a company. HubSpot is the tool. It's not that we are working better because of HubSpot. It's like you have clear ideas, you have clear goals, and we are just getting faster there with HubSpot. And HubSpot is not going to solve, and this is the main challenge with AI tools and all that stuff in HubSpot, is we are not going to solve for the things that you're missing at your company. It's not going to give us the strategy that you never in 15 years, or at least in the last 2 years, you never redesigned, you never updated, you never do a definition of procedure and internal communication. So something that right now, for example, we have Marketing Studio, right? And I don't like it that the first thing, the name is Marketing Studio, because it has replaced campaigns. And campaigns didn't used to be, even though it was in Marketing Hub, it's not only about marketing. When we're doing campaigns, it's a lot of teams also aligned with a specific campaign. For example, if we think about events as a campaign, we have prospecting events, we have lead generation events, we have client events, we have, a lot of types of events that are not only marketing. So why is campaign still a marketing feature when the whole company gets involved in a campaign, in an action, in an activity, right? So that's the first thing I don't like about Marketing Studio. But the second thing is that I feel like it's always thought, again, to be the marketing teams working there, even though, of course, other users can get inside Marketing Studio. You get this wonderful visibility of all the assets that are going to be involved. You get to create them from there. I think that is amazing. Yeah, that's cool. It still has some tricks and things that are not working, like connecting assets between each other. But I think the way campaigns used to work before, it was faster and easier. And now it's getting like a longer creative process. From the creative point of view, yeah, it's better. You get to use AI, you get to use a prompt. It helps you start from scratch, especially if you're someone from marketing or from content. You break that blank page. That always scares us, right?
Yep.
But if you're an operational person, you want to do things, you want to create a campaign, associate all the assets that you have, or for example, if you want to migrate from the old campaigns into the new ones, you need to start from scratch. And this is taking longer. So I know that we're gaining more features with this new Marketing Studio, but it's making the process slower. So again, this is a beta feature, still a working, I think it's beta, right? So far, it's still beta.
Yeah, it's in beta.
It's a work in progress, I know, but I don't know. I have love and hate. I have my pros and cons list that I'm trying to balance. I'm trying to make the pros extend more than the cons. We will get there, I think, eventually. And I did get approached by the product team just to say that because of a feedback that I gave. So I think they're starting to become aware and being more accountable of the things that are not working. Right. So always feedback as admins, if we get to give that feedback about the product, is always going to reach more the tool, is always going to make it better and being considered, right? So spend those extra 1-2 minutes to answer an email, to complete the pop-up that is appearing there in the section.
Yeah, I just want more time before you give me the pop-up. Like,
I haven't
let me be in here for more than 10 seconds before I can tell you what I think about this still.
Yeah, but you can ignore it, and in a couple of days it will come back again.
Yeah. No, we love the product team for their ability to flex and be available for these. That does bring up a good point, and we will get to the Marketing Studio, I promise. But curious where you stand on this, because this came up as a post, and it's very much related to the idea of, do we make it easy now or do we make it easy later, right? And what came up earlier this week is on LinkedIn, is this button here, this create property button. Yes. The previous experience was you click on this and it takes you right to the property editing screen.
Yes.
Now we click on it and we go here
Mhm.
first, right? And the concern that's been shared is now this is an extra click, right? Now we gotta like go here to do what we've always wanted to do in the past.
I think people
If you
always
could
want
share
to
your,
complain. It's like a sport.
right. If you could share like the pluses and minuses you see of this situation here.
I think it's kind of like, so let me go one step on the side. What I love now is being doing this from the data model. That's the first thing. So I'm kind of like not using this screen anymore because I get more visibility about the amount of properties, the properties that I already have. So the visibility is much better from the data model than doing it from here. Because from here, you can always come or fall into the error that the prompt thinks that isn't or is interpreting the way that you're describing the property that you want to create and could be creating it again when you could already have that property. So starting to use AI to be created and put a text there is gonna make us end again with the problem of having like probable duplicated properties or properties that are meant to do the same thing but with different wording. So I don't know how intelligent yet is this AI to understand. For example, I'm going to give a stupid example, but imagine that I want to know the annual income or the income in a year that I have with the client. Is this going to replace and create another one that is annual revenue because it considers that I'm talking about something else because I use different wording? Or if it's going to say, hey, wait, you have annual revenue. We can do the test, the live test.
See, this
Well,
is right. And we're
okay.
going to get to, I think what I see is that we know what there is a problem with duplicate properties like in portals. And that's when the humans have been doing it without
Yeah.
any help from AI. So the one click, get to the property as soon as possible. Like not everybody has a well-informed super admin. We know that the concept of accidental admin is real, and probably the majority of HubSpot portals have accidental admins and not super admins,
Yes.
right? And why it's interesting is it more likely that we're going to bring all these accidental admins like up in knowledge and data modeling and all that kind of stuff when they usually they're accidental admins because they have a different job like that they have to get done? Or are we going to be able to enable AI as Breeze learns, right? Now I made it very obvious like that this was going to be a duplicate property the way I asked for it, right? To Lucy's point, it's like maybe you say something like, oh, I want to be able to calculate this and this and this. And it's just another way to say annual revenue. Will Breeze catch the fact that it's a property that already exists? But what we have seen is that over time, it's more likely that AI is going to learn faster, quicker, more effectively than the humans that have struggled with this for like 25 years, right?
Yeah.
As we've had CRM adoption issues and stuff like that. So this opens the door for this to start happening. And again, you're still like the human in the loop is important. We're seeing other issues with this. Like if you have a specific internal naming convention that you got to use, like it the super interesting part, there's a learning curve on both sides here, right? The AI is learning and the humans are learning as we use these tools. And I think the key is, and I've been asking the team about like if this is how they think about it. But at the end of the day, it's real easy to do what they do in other points of the portal where there's like a one button click here and then there's a little like caret here to do the drop down. But that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to maybe force the issue of get help from AI. Like if you're not if you're one of those accidental admins, or if you're enabling the rest of your team, you know, when you're using all 6 hubs and you've got a marketing manager and a sales manager and a service manager, and they need to move quickly and at scale, and you want to enable them to do this, this kind of thing will go a long way. And for me, it makes much more sense than sitting everybody down like in a this is how we create properties class. And a lot of this just-in-time stuff, like we're seeing that from data agent, like right on company records. That's fun. I still don't know for sure yet. Like you're making properties from a single record. Like I have stuff to learn too about where all this stuff is being put. But I think this layer of just enabling the possibility of coaching and like not continuing to do what we've already learned is not like just the user base we know, like all the people that have been talking about this extra click and not liking it.
But who are those people? Other agencies, other partners?
Exactly. Right.
Well,
We're not building
So-
HubSpot for them. And those same partners all have stories about duplicate properties everywhere and just messy portals. Right.
And those who complain are slow walkers. Because for me, I just ignore it and I just click on the site and go to create manually. It's just millifractions of a second. It's not even like 2 seconds that it takes me. Maybe the first time because I was surprised to see that pop up, but then I ignore it and I go to the area or I do it from the data model. So if you're an agency, don't complain, right? Shut up and do it the proper way. But if you are a client, I think this is a great, how would you say, safety guard or way of not messing up, especially as you were mentioning, because there's still a lot of accidental super admins. One of the girls in the bootcamp the other day mentioned, I started as an accidental super admin because the girl that was doing it went on a 1-month holiday and someone asked me something and the workflows stopped working. So I had to go and audit the properties, the object, everything. So I didn't know. I need to learn on the way. Okay, fantastic. And then she liked it, and then she started developing that role. The second thing that I could mention here is that I'm not sure, something that happens a lot of the time is that we are expecting, or clients are expecting, to create a property in an object that may be the wrong object. So in that example that we did, it didn't mention if that property already existed in another object. Maybe Copilot or the assistant is going to be doing that, but that little window, maybe not. Maybe it's just checking in that object. But sometimes data models are complex, and you have a lot of information partitioned among a lot of objects, and maybe you're just checking in the wrong object and creating it in the wrong property. Okay, it's not something super, I don't know. It's important, but let's just say you can always delete it and then go and check the right object. But I would love to have the assistant to cross along the whole data model that information, not only in that object, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's like the door is that the foundation is being built for that, right? That's what this is. Because what surprised me yesterday I do a show called Data Modeling with AI. Right. And originally it was using Claude and then MCP to create properties. Right. But now like Breeze Assistant can do it for you most of the time when you ask in the right way.
Okay. Have you played with the AI assistant in the main screen? Because we did that exercise in the bootcamp the other day also.
Yeah. Yep. So this chat originally happened in the main screen. Right. So this is one variable I've learned, like depending on where you're talking to Breeze, and it can be important. Sometimes it cares, sometimes it doesn't. But what I noticed yesterday is so the exercise here is I'm trying to use the new projects object, right? And I want to build out project management. I've already done a lot of project management like stuff with deliverables and services and these other objects. And now, like, something that's been super insightful and relates to this, we've been doing it this way for a long time. Now we know HubSpot's come out with a better way to do it. Without assistance from AI, it becomes very hard for humans to want to redo it again, right? Even if they know for sure it will be a better way to do it, right? A lot of sunk cost decisions and things like that. So now what I'm doing here is I'm saying, go look at these other objects, like deliverables, go find the properties there, right? And make those properties on the project object, like match the
Migrate.
pipelines that are over there, right? Before that, I'm usually getting to a place of like, I'm making sure Breeze Assistant understands, like, we're aligned on the context of the portal. Like, do you know about the projects object? That's where I start, right? I'm much less comfortable with Breeze Assistant than I am with Claude as far as like gray area context, right? But something that was interesting yesterday is I asked, it offered some recommendations, and one of them was like framework pillar. So this is in the Value First portal, right? And so in my mind, as the admin, I know that this property exists on the other objects, but I have not asked it to look at those other objects yet. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it did that, right? But then when I asked, I'm curious where you got the suggestion for the framework pillar property. It was getting it from the AI data sources area where I talk about the business, where I have products and services set up, right? And that whole, so as if you fill out your AI data sources, right? And then you go here to do this, it has that context in theory. So it can help guide, like, everything in the organization always starts from this context of, even if it's an X&O admin and you have like, hey, sales, hey, product, like, come fill out this data source stuff, right, for us. Now, everywhere you use Breeze, and this is why it's an intelligence layer of HubSpot, it's not just a new tool here and there anymore, right? Everything can be more contextual. Again, it's a learning curve. So it doesn't always work the way you might expect. But this allows for that context. So it's not on any one person's shoulders to figure out, like, in response to somebody asking you for that report or asking you for this new property so they can add in data that everybody's asking for, right? Adding this layer, I think, is huge. So this was something that's been fun as an experiment. And so today I just asked, like, hey, what can you tell me, like, about the data model in general? This coachability and this learning possibility from Breeze, like, it's just, we've got to build the muscles for that, right? Because almost everywhere it's right nearby. In this case, it's here. In every other case, it's here, right?
Yeah, but it's going to take time as everything, I think. But the time that we dedicate now to inform it, to train it, to help it understand what a business is about and any other context is going to help save time in the future, right? So now that we're talking about loop marketing, a lot of AI involved in different processes, but we need to let the CRM understand how a business works. Of course, now it has more capability to understand and to analyze information, but it could take so many different ways if you don't give them the context, right?
So that is a perfect segue into what your issue is with Marketing Studio. And we'll look at this one first. I'm going to try to look at this one.
Oh, my eyes,
right?
Chris.
And what you mentioned is that it's harder to create campaigns now, right? And it's kind of like easy now versus easy later. And a very real scenario I've been running into with the client is, since things have been done a certain way and a lot of it's in Excel, like the reason we cling to Excel is because it's so easy to just get in there, type it out, add columns, sort it, like do all this easy stuff, right? So we can keep doing that over and over, but since we do it in that way, it makes everything harder later because it's not connected to any systems. And this, not just Excel, this is how, like, when you start doing more things in QuickBooks and other systems that are not designed to be relational databases, right? Yeah, it's easier to get the quote out, the invoice out, but it's on an island now. It's not connected to the rest of your system.
Yeah.
So
So I
that's
really
where,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I really like that this area is replacing for a lot of clients how they used to use Asana, Trello, how they used to map all these campaigns in a Miro board, in a Plectica. Like they were already using other apps, as you were saying, that weren't connected at all with the CRM. So again, there is still a lot of pros in the pros column.
Yeah.
So even though this doesn't look, or it's starting to look complicated, or it takes a little bit more time, if we think that we are merging 2 or more platforms into here and everything connected with the right asset, or being able to create here from a click a landing page, a website page, a social post, or whatever content, forms, whatever content that there's still a lot of things. For example, workflows are not appearing here. That, well, okay, workflows, it's on the cons because I know it's coming probably, but I think it's a great new area. But I still think that, okay, it's not only marketing. So campaigns are going to be something across the company.
Right. And I think we're going to continue. I feel like, so my hope is that they execute their own version of Loop Marketing Playbook, and they start to remove the word marketing from things like Loop Marketing Playbook. And like, I've already seen it called Loop Playbook for Growth. But what's interesting, I get the spot that they're in, because in my opinion, the best organizations, and related to my favorite definition of marketing, which is marketing is every two-way communication between you and your customers, right? That means marketing owns all the communication, like, of the business. And if that's the case, then Loop Marketing and Marketing Studio, like, will make way more sense, because everybody has to go through marketing, even customer success, even service. Like, hey, we got a new knowledge base article. Like, marketing owns all that. And now they can own all the context too very easily, right? Because what we've seen happening over the last year is you can add knowledge base articles, you can add sales documents, you can add all the things. So maybe we can change the word marketing to like communication or something like that.
Campaigns, so just campaigns. Let's just go back into Campaign Studio.
Nobody knows what campaign means, Lucy.
Everyone has different teams, has different understanding of campaigns. But coming back to marketing, I have this conversation once with a client, and I said, because we were talking now, marketing is a responsibility, as if they were the owner of, I don't know, as if they had their own identity. And I said, you know how I see marketing? I see like market in is the team responsible of helping the company get into the market. And that would mean do anything: lead generation, remarketing, re-engaging with clients, renewals. That would mean, I don't know, having old customers buying again if you have an e-commerce. It involves so many different actions. Branding if you want, but everything is with the goal and the idea to make you have a presence in the market, being present in the minds of the people, of the prospects, of the clients. So people tend to think that marketing has only that responsibility of lead generation. That's the old traditional way of thinking about marketing. But the way that or at least the good thing about super admins is that we can extract part of the responsibility of marketing, part of the responsibility of sales, part of the responsibility of customer success, and unify it in a new role that is agnostic of all those silo teams. But
Yeah.
marketing, if you still want to see yourself only as marketing and lead gen, you're gonna reduce yourself such a small role that is not gonna get to see value. So right now they're starting to rename themselves as growth team. Okay, you're doing the same shit with another name. Sorry about that, but it's just this the role or the responsibility that you have, even though the name is different in your organization, is still the same. So we need to stop thinking about, and I think HubSpot used to have that idea of stop talking about hubs, stop talking about silos and teams, but the market still uses that wording. We still have marketing teams, we still have sales teams. But again, what about if for one day I want to propose this one international business day when we forget that we are different businesses and everyone works in the same workspace. Nobody has different offices. Nobody has cards or labels or roles.
Now you're talking my language.
Okay, so what if we do that at least one day and we understand with each other how everyone is wanting the best for the company? So let's just stop working separately. But HubSpot is not helping with some of the wording. So HubSpot, please,
Well,
please
what
give us
happens
something.
when most of your users are in marketing, hub
Yeah.
and SaaS. But yeah, I'm with you. Like,
All the
imagine if
seats.
everybody that was supporting customers was called the customer team, and there it is, all on the same team. Like, I think we're approaching that world very quickly, because that's what makes sense to AI. When you start siloing these things needlessly for KPIs and for all the reasons that we found, like, it doesn't make sense. And we know that, like, one of the favorite quotes from Dharmesh, I think, is like you don't want something to the effect of like, oh, your org chart is showing, right? Like, when handoffs suck, and like what we want to use HubSpot for. And this is where, like, you get there by creating the unified customer view that we were talking about. Like, the customer should not feel movement across departments, right?
Yes.
And when you're logging into different systems and even using the same system differently, the customer always feels that, right?
Or for example, if you think about ICP and target markets and all that great new tools that we have, is it marketing? Is it sales? So who should be using that? Because everyone can take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So it's not a one seat or one hub special tool. So I think that we're starting to notice AI, I think, is surfacing this much more, that everyone should take advantage of these tools. It's not a one thing, one hub thing, right?
Yeah.
And seat is making it complicated too, because another of the big questions that we have in the bootcamp, but if they are in the sales seat, can they use Marketing Studio? And if they are a core seat, can they use sequences? So now everything, the conversation is getting complicated because the segmentation of the partitioning of the tool is getting complicated. Let's just do one seat for everyone, same price, and then let's just handle different permissions for different sections. Okay, yes, you have one seat. What is your role? Sales. Okay, I'm going to give you access to this, and this tool. Your role is marketing. Fantastic. Let's just give you access to this part and this and this. And let's just forget about seats. I'm just so tired about seats. The seats conversation. Yeah. Let's just advocate to the smart seat that everything is included and no more segmentation from the seat side. I still advocate for the permissions and different access. Yes, of course, that is super fundamental, but not seats related. That's so old school, but okay.
Yeah. I think by end of next year, my prediction is that we get to
I think so.
One hub and credits.
Yes, one type of seats.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you have one hub, then do you need seats? It's basically one license. Oh, look at this. Agent Run has finished. It just did a clip for me. uh, and credits. And I think customer agent, we should think of that as the new rule instead of, some anomaly where it was only in Service Hub. And then when it launched out of beta,
Yeah.
now like we shared an update this morning about how it's getting easier to configure it. When you get down to the bottom, it says who gets it. Every hub gets it. Of course, every hub has access to the customer agent because every hub supports the customer experience, right?
Yes.
I think we'll see more and more of that.
You know,
We
another
are,
challenge.
yeah,
Sorry, another challenge that came this week also is how to estimate or predict the amount of credits that you're going to need. Why? Because so far nobody has used credits. This is a new model. Nobody used to use agents, so we don't know the volume of usage for any portal. So this is kind of like a new, even though they are building, HubSpot has a credits calculator, and there's a lot of people trying to start creating that too. But I think is the CRM, is the AI in the CRM who, after maybe 2 or 3 months, should be the one predicting
yeah,
your usage and telling you, hey, this is the suggested package of credits that you're going to need based on the history of this. Because I can do that, yes, but the AI, who knows better your business than the AI that is running 24/7 with you? So it's not me as an agency. Yes, I can try to predict, I can try to use the same variables that the AI is going to be considering, but it's going to be more accurate. And I think HubSpot has all the tools to be doing that. So we just need that credits agent, or maybe it's the assistant in the credits area. I'm going to test that. I haven't done that.
yeah,
But I think we should get, as an admin, those are the type of cool features that I need. I need to understand based on the historical things, historical stuff that I've been doing. Yes, of course, I run out of the 5,000 free credits or 3,000 free credits that I have. But based on the amount of activity, and if we project that I consume all those credits in 1 week, how many credits it would take in a month for me? Or
yep,
how more credits should I be using if I had, I don't know, if I do more campaigns, if I do, I don't know, whatever we are doing.
yeah,
I think that could be a cool feature that is going to help a lot of admins, because right now credits is scary. We don't want to be doing that. We're just going to be testing with the free ones, but we don't know how to predict and budget the amount of credits that we're going to need.
yeah.
So that's the
That's what.
next challenge, I think, for admins.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting about this new usage-based world.
Yes.
Like when you think about your 2026 budget,
Yeah.
it's the opposite of what you've been doing. Like, because you don't know your adoption, you don't know how people are using your system, so you can't possibly like predict and forecast usage. Just like it's so hard for you to forecast your sales and all that stuff because people aren't using, your system. So
Yeah.
I very much think that AI is going to be successful in moving businesses forward in a way where no, you can't, like, it doesn't even make sense to try and predict this stuff. What you need to do is be present and start using the system right now. And these dashboards will be available for you to make instant decisions about how things are working or not, how much stuff is getting used. And it'll be based on real data, not like pretend this is what we would love to see, data.
Yes, but I don't see yet the tool helping us predict anything.
Oh, not yet.
Not
Yeah.
yet. And I think that uh, part of what we tried to do in the bootcamp is educate people to get used to or acquainted with this idea of credit usage that is going to come in the future, but the market is far from ready to migrate into that model, right?
Right.
Everyone is used to owning their own car, not renting the car for the amount of hours that you're going to be using it. So
Yep.
the mindset is not ready yet. And I see HubSpot like working on a lot of cool features, but without educating the market, we are not quite there. And I started this discussion in one of the Slack groups that we have for the AI Bootcamp and other teams. And I got a pretty cool reply from someone in the group that said, for example, let's just say that you have a site that is 5% of enterprise traffic for e-commerce. That site is seeing an average of 40 daily chats, conversations. That means 280 a week, more or less 1,100 a month. That would mean 13,000 and a half annually, right? If brief conversations initially cost $1 per conversation, then you're going to be multiplying that. End of the story is total annual cost 270K. Do you think that today teams are going to say, okay, yes, I'm going to approve 270K for next year? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I don't see that aligning with the global economy that the world is experiencing right now. So we need to transition into that. So I really love that Yamini has this crazy idea of growing 5 times in the next 5 years or 10 times in the next 5 years. Yes, but guys, let's just start educating. Let's just start preparing the scenario to make the smooth transition into that. Because the market is not ready to be operating on usage-based model. So we need to start baby steps, not just dropping the bomb and nobody's here because I'm not going to be there to defend this. I'm just trying to educate and just trying to make people acquainted that yes, credit is coming. A lot of things are going to start consuming credit. Yes, we need to get acquainted with that. Fantastic. We need to start trying to plan everything that we're going to be implementing. Do the pilot test with those free credits that you get every month. But okay, this is gonna take time. Slowly. But we cannot drop the 300K for next year budget because everyone is gonna hang me. I cannot say that.
Please don't tell your CFO things like that.
Yes. So
I do think that companies will have no choice, and this is what, at the end of the day, this is what loop marketing gets at too. Like, you have to find a way to stop thinking you can control everything and put yourself in a position to be ready for what's actually happening, like day to day. Like, build agility into the business. And this is the current structure is not, it's not built for that. Everybody wants to be based on hours and like all these units that we know exactly how it's going to work. And it's just, it's very challenging to do that with AI. And the example is customer agent, right? 100 credits per conversation. I guarantee most of the people that are going to use that thing it's going to be very hard because humans on the other side also need to learn how to use customer agent. How in the world are you going to predict how many conversations, which directly impacts how many credits are going to be used? You're not going to be able to forecast that like effectively, right? So I think everybody benefits, and this has been the case for a long time. You need to build in experimental sections of your budget to say like, hey, we have an idea of how this is going to work. Here's a wide range, but we've got to start trying it because we know that we think it will be valuable, and we can't let ourselves get blocked just because we can't predict the future, which we've never been able to. We've suggested that we can put everything in spreadsheets and pretend that we can, but the reality is we can't. But can we create value right now for people? Because that's what they're asking for.
And I think the corollary here is going to be, we're going to need to be more conscious about the experiments that we do. And as long as we have, because let's imagine for a while that we have this 270 or 300K budget for next year. Who's responsible of that budget? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it customer success? I think it's the whole business as itself. But what is going to be the goal of the revenue obtained for the cost? Because everything without sustent or without context is going to feel like cost, like sunk cost, like you're not going to be getting anything out of it. So the idea of start doing this is planning, okay, a revenue machine. Yes, I'm putting 300K, what I'm expecting to come out on the other side. Because HubSpot is that, it's a revenue machine. So we could get distracted with colors, with landing pages, with amazing marketing studio, but it's a revenue machine. Everything that we're doing is expected to be generating revenue. So if you're not getting that, you're not doing things the proper way. So the number could, imagine 2K, 300K, I don't know, 1 million K, whatever number you're thinking about, you need to understand what is the result of investing that. It's not cost. I think I love to say investment, but investment of what? To be aligned with what and to be obtaining what? Because if we don't know that, yeah, that's a waste of money. I would prefer to buy a Tesla with the money. I don't know, do other thing and be happy. Now, Tesla, no, but another thing.
Oh, well, we didn't get to the marketing studio part.
Well,
Really.
we started.
So let's what are you, let's dig in next time. Let's do a deeper dive on this, because I do think it's very impactful to the whole portal. Like, if you can start to manage your communications throughout the journey, like from this place, like this plus journey, the journey builder, definitely in this place where you can use visual context just as well as we're trying to unify context for Breeze and all the AI tools. We can do it for people with this tool as well. So what are you excited to dig into when we meet next time?
We can discuss a little bit more about Marketing Studio, and then I think other day we can discuss more about the data quality area too. I really think as an admin, if I need to understand how a campaign is performing and how things are getting implemented, because as we have different views there, you can know, I don't know if people knows, but you can create a start date, an end date for each of these assets that we put here. You have a property that it's called status, so that if you used to use Trello, for example, you can see it in the same Trello way. I think it's called, yes, that one, board. So you can know what is drafted, what is scheduled, what is already published. You can put comments there. You can create tasks for people. So I think there's a lot of good value in the tool. You can also map it as a journey, as you were mentioning, because what the old campaigns tool didn't do, it didn't show you the flow. So now here in the tool, we can mimic with the design the flow that we want it to happen. Depending on the navigator that you're using, and this is for personal experience, sometimes whatever you do doesn't get saved. I don't know, what navigator are you using? Chrome?
What's that?
Are you using Chrome?
Yep.
Okay. So in my case that I use Arc, my structure, my design of the campaign doesn't get saved. And whenever I come back, everything is rearranged again. So that's a pain in you know what.
So
and I don't get to see
doesn't work for you.
Also that I don't get to see it. It's just a maniac clicking until the line appears, because I don't get that to work. But okay, let's just imagine that all of this is fixed and that we have more assets, because right now it's like elementary assets. We don't have everything there. But I think it's a cool way of creating, or at least organizing, because you can also use already created campaigns to do this. You don't have to only be using it to create new campaigns.
Yeah. Like, this was the first time that I opened this campaign, right? And because everything had been tagged, it automatically puts it on here for you in the way that it decides to be best. But this is what, like, don't think of this as a place where you have to rebuild like from scratch. Like, if you've been tagging well and you have been using campaigns, then this is designed to help you take those next steps that we're talking about. So I'm excited to dive in with you next time, because it's a powerful thing, and we're going to see more of these things. We already are seeing more of these things as far as overviews and canvases and things that just we've been relying on other tools like, Lucy mentioned Miro, and for the same reasons that I like Canva, when you're explaining these kinds of things that can be very complex, like all these different asset types, and if you can't tell like a good story around it all, like with visuals, like often we're pulling it out into PowerPoint, slides so we can do that. If you can't tell that story, it be very hard to get the buy-in that you need and the understanding that you need for like, okay, yeah, there's a good reason for why we're doing all this and it makes sense. And now you start to connect that to the resources required to do it all, right? Which obviously is another reason you talk to your stakeholders. And that's a nuanced conversation, of course, but we know for sure that if you cannot explain the complexity, if you cannot find a way to explain the complexity and the scale of what you're actually doing, that's how we get to the point of accidental admins that never have the resources that they need, that are asked to like take on the world of this really complex platform. And it's hard, right? So I look forward to digging deeper into this next time, and that'll put us in a good position to talk about data quality, because I think this is one of the new tools that if you decide to move the process here, like a lot of things, and this HubSpot's designing a lot of this, these workspaces, these overviews, these studios, if you start to do things here instead of all the one-off places in HubSpot, things get connected. Like when you create a deal, like from a contact record, the contacts automatically associated, versus if you just go create the deal, then you've got to manually, like that's what we're talking about here. Like another thing that, yes, you could do a lot of this stuff in other places, but when you decide to start from here, a lot of things that you're wanting to happen start to happen. So,
and it's going to save a lot of time. And imagine that is time that you get to reallocate and do something else, or to dedicate more time to analyze, right? Instead of logging into one account, viewing this, exporting to Excel, crossing with this other platform, doing the others. It's very time consuming. As a strategist or as an admin or as a manager, any role that you have, having to handle different platforms is exhausting, right? It takes a lot of time. So being able to have everything connected in one place, it gives you, and I think this is something I was thinking about while you were talking, that this is gonna start giving, even if you're not a strategist, that strategy visibility. Because even if you're entering a campaign because you just curious and you wanted to take a sneak peek of what was inside, if we start using it properly, building like journeys, or the design, putting it in a different way, even if you don't want to, you're going to see a strategy there. Yes. So I think everyone is going to start having like this strategy mindset that I like, and that I always try to give someone else that that point of view. Even though if we don't want it, we are going to get it. And I really like that. And I think we are going to a good place in that sense. When we're thinking about strategy first, when you're thinking about getting things aligned and connected that we didn't choose to. Yeah, we could associate assets, but there was a lack of that visibility. And I really love also those 4 types of viewing this, because it's not only 4 different views, it's 4 different ways of working with what you have. It's 4 different goals that you have, because one thing is to understand how this campaign runs along the time. Okay, so you're going to see it in a calendar. On the operational point of view, if you want to know how things are, what are the amount of assets that you already have ready, or that are waiting for approval, or that are already scheduled, you have that other bullish view. So depending on what you need to be focusing on, you have those different views. So it's not like, it's the same thing, I'm not going to be using the other 3. No, you're going to be using them for different things. And I really love that. And that is also showing in all other objects. And we're starting to get those other and I love it because I call it point of views
Yes.
of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We needed that because different admins, different team members work in different ways and need to focus on different things. And whenever we have this choice of switching the point of view of the same area, it's like life. You could be seeing the same situation from different sides, and it's going to change your perspective. It's going to change your understanding of that situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about this more.
I look
Don't
forward to
worry.
digging in for sure. Because this is
Yeah.
what unifying business context looks like. It's what
Yes.
unifying customer views look like. Like there's not a lot of need for other systems at this point. So we're gonna help you dig in to Marketing Studio, probably learn a lot ourselves. So we'd love for you to join us and learn with us. And until next time, Lucy.
Until next
Thanks.
time, thanks very much.
Yes, thank you. And everybody have a great Thursday.
Bye bye.